Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout. I got to talk about Dark Phoenix because, look, I mean, we all had really high hopes for this movie because it was supposed to be like the Avengers Endgame of the entire Marvel X-Men saga, all the way from the very first Marvel movie with the X-Men up until now. And it was just supposed to take all these wonderful characters we grew up that Stan Lee created and tie them all together. And to say the least, it failed miserably. I found a great article that kind of summarizes it right here. It's titled Dark Phoenix Didn't Understand Who X-Men Are, and it's on Gizmodo. Every once in a while, they get an okay article on there. And basically, if you want to read this, go for it. I'm just going to summarize it. Basically, what it talks about is that the creators of, I should say, the creative team for X-Men that stepped in later after Bryan Singer was working on it really didn't understand what made X-Men special. And here it goes through just the different characters, like for instance, Patrick Stewart playing Professor Xavier, Ian McClellan playing Magneto, the older Magneto, um, as well as the actor that played the younger Magneto. And just the relationships between the characters was kind of off in this film. That even like the lapse of time was way off because for some reason the actor's name, I can't think of his name, but that played the younger Magneto, it's supposed to be 30 years later, and the dude looks exactly the same. He still looks like he's like 36 years old. It's really weird, but basically at the end of this, it says that being able to relate to Jean and her struggles with her identity is just as important. It's just as important a part of the Dark Phoenix saga as the Firebird itself. And that really is true because if you read the comics and you watched the Saturday morning cartoon, there was like a deep struggle inside of Jean Grey about like being Jean Grey and then also having this like entity inside of her that is all powerful, just trying to get out. She's trying to like hold it back, and there's conflict. Professor Xavier can sense it, and it goes on. But her issues are presented in a rushed, ham-fisted way. They were, and it just ends up feeling like a botched attempt at something that could have been wonderful. The feverish excitement hardcore X-Men fans get when thinking about the team's classic adventures is what the X-Men franchise has been designed to capitalize on, and capitalize it did. Quality is subjective, but numbers aren't, and the X-Men franchise was overall a resounding financial success. So when you take all the movies together, yeah, they made money, but this one was pretty bad. It says, but the success was powered by the energy the audiences brought into theaters. True. All of us that grew up on the comic books, we wanted to like these movies. I mean, let's face it, if these were not already established when we were a kid with that 80s and 90s nostalgia, they would not have done as well. They brought into theaters their personal thoughts and relationships with characters they know and love and all their complexities. More than anything else, Dark Phoenix is a testament to the fact that fans' fond memories aren't just enough to carry these films anymore, and that's really true. And that if and when Disney decides to fold these characters into the MCU, that's going to be brutal. It would do well to learn from Fox's mistakes. I don't know. I don't think that Disney's really going to do that great of a job when they take on X-Men. Look, we're going to see a reboot of all of these X-Men movies, if you can believe it. I mean, there's already like 7 or 8 of them, you know? My feeling is that, there's some characters that are just like almost impossible to recast. Wolverine is one of them. Can you imagine X-Men if they didn't have Wolverine? If they didn't have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? I mean, that's why they put him in almost every movie, even like a cameo, because it just kind of like gives you that feeling of this is an X-Men movie. I don't know. But anyway, something that I thought was really, really hilarious is, so one of the things that was ridiculous about this movie was the fact that Jennifer Lawrence refused to sit in the makeup chair to have her makeup on playing the Mystique character. Um, she originally agreed to it in the earlier movies. That's because she wasn't like as big of a star as she is now. So she was willing to kind of, put in the work and sacrifice and do it. Now that she's a household name and she has the pretty much the pull to not have to do everything that they tell her to do, she refused to sit in the makeup chair for 7 hours and do it. And this is what we got. So let's check this out. That right there, that atrocity is what is in the movie. If you look at, so basically what they did was they just had the dots on her face. You know what I mean? Like when they do CGI, so they like a dot here, 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 and then in post-production, some poor guy had to go in frame by frame and CGI on this weird blue Smurf looking thing with her eyes. Like, these are clearly not contact lenses. This is CGI right here. She probably wore like a really bad wig. I mean, this looks like a really bad wig. This is what originally it looked like. Right there. That's 6 to 8 hours in a makeup chair. Way better. This is a promotional picture. So as you can see, this looks a lot closer to the original one right here. Still not as good, but that's what it looks like. And then this is what we got in theaters. I mean, it's just, it's like, why even bother doing it at this point, I mean, even the little girl here that was Mystique, she looked good. And then here's an earlier, you can even see Jennifer Lawrence is not happy that she had to sit in the makeup chair for 6 or 7 hours right there. She got paid a ton of money, but she had to sit there for quite a while. I just thought that was ridiculous. These are things that fans expect. It's like, look, if you're going to sign on to play, it's like, if you're going to, sign on to take a boatload of money to play a character, you got to wear the costume, you got to wear the outfit. It's like, it's like signing the contract. You're going to be a big Wall Street investor, and you refuse to wear a suit and tie because it's just uncomfortable. It's like, this is part of the gig. Anyway, and then here is the Rotten Tomatoes, the final result. We got 23%. I mean, that is pretty freaking bad. That is really bad for a Dark Phoenix movie, because even with the shill critics at Rotten Tomatoes, they all love Marvel movies and X-Men movies. Audience score, 64%. I mean, what is that? It's like a D-, borderline F right there. Still pretty bad. And that's over 12,700 reviews. And then we go to whatever. I don't really care about reading the paid, I call them paid reviews. So I like to read people that actually tell the truth. It was an absolute embarrassment. The movie doesn't know what the story is telling. Terrible plot, terrible writing. Excuse me. Dialogue stilted. Take some tips from Marvel team, X-Men writers. It just goes on and on. If you want to read them, it's pretty funny. So boring, bad CGI, and it was nothing special. I was let down. We all were. No, I think it's supposed to be comment, but it's comment. No comment. I'll just say half a star is generous. Anyway, guys, I would normally say go to the theaters and see an X-Men movie. If it's not a great movie, I would say go to the dollar movie and see it. I would not say with this. Don't waste your time. Look, your time is precious. We have a finite amount of time we're going to be alive in this earth. Don't waste it with garbage like this. Go see anything else. Go see the Chucky movie. Don't see this crap. Anyway, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Later.